Hello. Now I'm going to do a small past paper of paper 3, May-June 2029, and the paper code is 31. I will be doing task 2 in this video. So it says you're going to prepare a spreadsheet for a special disk space. The company is going to make and sell storage for the devices. The company has 49 employees and the company uses a spreadsheet to record the hours worked each week to calculate the pay of the employee. All employees are paid in euros. This is a highlighted one because it's asking you the data has to be done in euros. And also it has to have 2 decimal places. Now further, if you could see, it says open and examine the file, this one. So I've already downloaded the resource files. I'll just open that. So these are my resource files. Moving back to the question, open the file j1931mp.csv. So I'll double click on the file and it gets open. Again, it needs to be open in a spreadsheet, so it gets open in an Excel. By default, always whenever you open a CSV, try to save it in an Excel format. So I'm just saving as in the same folder. From the drop down, select Excel workbook. Let me rename it as it is. The further part of the question. Now it says replace the text with cell A1 with this name which says SDS weekly pay. So I go back to the first line. Looking at this document which is provided to you, it's the first row where you have SDS weekly pay to be written. So I'm just clicking this, removing this pages which is provided. Then I just type SDS weekly pay. Okay. Moving on, it says delete row 3 to 7 inclusive. Inclusive means whatever is present between 3 to 7, include that and delete it. So this was the data that was provided. Right click, you have the option as delete. Again, moving on. Format at the top of the worksheet which looks like this. So I could see there is a font which is written till column K. So I'll also do it in the same manner, till column K. And I just fill some color. Again, reading out fully before I perform. It says at the bottom, format cell A1 which has white text and dark green background. I repeat, it says white text on a dark green background. So I will first change the color. So type green background. I'm just choosing one. Again, white text. I could see it is a little bigger, so I'll format it in the same manner. I'll increase the font size. This is on the right hand side, so I'll align at the right hand side. So for that I'll have to merge. So I click on this icon and merge in center. Again, moving on to the right hand side. I could still see it is like a bold, so I'm just making it a little bolder. Now save this spreadsheet as the name provided to you, like SDS. So let me use this notation and save the file as. So I click on file, I click on save as. Instead of this name, I'm saving with the name provided and click save. Okay. Now there are some data that has to be formatted which should look like this. Now I could see this is in italic format. This is little bold. There's no grid line between this particular box. So I'll just also do it in the same manner. So I'll select first office, which I could see is a bold. So I'm selecting this bold and italic. Again, bold, italic. I could not read the entire one. So bring the cursor here and double click on it so that the column width is visible fully. Again, job description, I can't read it. I'm making it bigger. And I could see job and description, job and code is on the other line. So what I'll do is I'll just double click on this and I press from the keyboard called as Alt Enter. Again, similar for job code. Bring the cursor and double click over here as Alt Enter. Same for job description. and rate of pay, I'll increase the size so everything fits properly. Okay, now it says row 5 to row 13. There's no grid line to it, so I'll select this first. Now I'll put a border to it. Select this and just select an outside border. Outside border, and fill it with white color in it. Let me do it again. Outside border. First select no border, outside border, and just fill the color. Similar for S job code, description, rate of pay together. So let me select this, fill the color as white, and make the border outside. Again, if you could see here, we have euros with 2 decimal places. I'll select this data, select the drop down from number, make the currency. So I'll go to number format, go to currency, from the drop down choose euro. Just rotate. I could say euro, so I'm just selecting number of decimal places that you wish to. Now, how do you want the euro currency to be looking like? You can choose this. You want the euro to be written before the number, after the number, so you have 2 different options. Let me select the first one. So it will be like this, euro 10.00. So I click OK. I have entire currency written in the same manner. Now again below I have to do the formatting for row 15 and 16. Let me finish quickly with that. So I click bold, italic, again row 16, bold, italic, payroll number, bring the cursor, alt enter so that it moves on the next line. First name and last name also has to be in the same manner. So I'm just pressing alt enter and moving ahead. Similar goes for office code. Similar goes for job code, office name, job description, contract hours. Now for the question, contract hours and number of work or hours worked are mostly equivalent. It means the same thing. Later part of the question will make you understand what I'm trying to tell you. And if you can see, the alignment for this is in the center alignment. So what I'll do, I'll select this, bring on center alignment, something like that. Now I move ahead. Now it says place your name, center number. Center number is generally your school number, the school code number which needs to be entered, and candidate number provided on the right hand side of the header. I'll go back. There are 2 ways. If you don't remember header, you can directly use the bar at the top, that is search, and type there as header and footer. Double click on it, you get the header. Now it needs to be done according to the question on the right hand side. So we'll select on the right hand side. So for example, I'm writing my own name. When you write, please try to write it in the entire way. Then center number, so I'm just writing some center number with some code, and then I am also mentioning the roll number or the candidate number of yours on the right hand side of the footer. At the bottom it says, on the header itself there is one more thing that needs to be added, which says last revised on, which needs to be followed by date, then space and the automated time. So in the center I have written last revised on, automated date. So at the top you could see there is current date and time feature. So first needs to be having a date. So you'll click on date, date gets added, provided a space, provide time. That's what has been asked in the left hand alignment of this. Sorry, it was left, I made it the other way. Now, create a name range called office. That's the next part of the question, using cells A5 to B13. Now first let's come out from the footer, header view. So you can either press an escape key. If you can't do that, you can click on the icons at the top bottom, which will also provide you a normal view. Okay, now moving ahead. The next part of the question says, a name range called office. So exit. Now when I do cell number, again reading out, A35, A5 to B13, A5 to B30 till here. So I'm just selecting the entire and I right click on this. You have an option which is called as define name. When you click on define name, it is asking you what name has to be provided to it. The question has already mentioned the name that needs to be provided is offices. So you'll type here as OOI offices and you say OK. Now evidence, you can just use the snipping tool. I go back. Now before right click, you already have offices here. You can use the snipping of this as well and paste it in the evidence document. Going ahead, part of the question. Now it says in cell F17, use a function lookup for office name. So I'll go back. F17. So F17. Now office name has to be looked up upon. Based on the office code column, you need to find the value and the different offices range. For this question, it's saying if the office code is F, it should display Ankara. If the office code is A, it should display as Amsterdam. So I'll click here, I'll use a function VLOOKUP because it's a vertical alignment. I double click on it. I have 4 options to be entered. The first option is what lookup value are you searching for? So I will be mapping along with the office code. So I click office code here. Now table array, the data from where you need to search. So I'm selecting this range from where I'll be searching. Next, column index number, which value needs to be entered? If you could see, I don't want A value, rather I want the Amsterdam. So A was the first column, Amsterdam was the second column. And range lookup, by default we use false, which gives you an exact match. Again, when you are doing for offices, it's recommended that you use an absolute sign. See, all the data has been there. If you drag it, if you pull it down, autofill. Similarly, now G17, you need to use a function for job description, where you'll be using this job code. So I bring the cursor here, I click on FX, we look up again, lookup value would be my job code. Table array is again the same value which was there, where I have the job description about it. So if it is M1, it should give me manufacturing. So I select this both data. Now when I'm doing this, I'll use a function key F4, which will allow me to provide an absolute data to it. Or you can manually use a $sign, whichever way it suits you. Select number 2 so that the data office sale is being extracted, and at the end, false. And you say OK. So when I pull it down, the entire information of my job description is displayed. Now, sixth question, it says J17, use a function look up the rate of pay. So I'll bring rate of pay is here. Now we need to figure out the rate. So as I mentioned, this contract hours, what is present is similar like number of hours worked. So I'm just copying and pasting it, number of hours worked. Now in question 6, it says in J17, use a function for the lookup value for the rate of pay. So if you see the data that's provided with us, here for rate of pay, which is common out here and can be extracted, is job code. So for job code, I will just use, and it's in a vertical manner, so we use a VLOOKUP function here. So we'll again go to FX and we click on VLOOKUP. We click up the lookup value. Now we'll be doing the function J17 where we need to look up for the value rate of pay. So I go back to the data, rate of pay. I think here the job code is the ones which is same. So we'll be using a VLOOKUP function as the data is provided in a vertical manner. So I click on FX, I use a VLOOKUP again, and I look up with the value that is job code. Moving ahead, the table array would be the entire one because I need to find the third column which is rate of pay. So I click number 3 and at the end false. And I say okay. So I just pull it down. And here I could get some data which is NA. If you find something like this, just bring the cursor at the formula bar at the top, select the data range and make it absolute. So making absolute, use a function key F4 which provides a $sign. Something like that, and press and enter. When you pull that thing down, automatically the values are given in a proper manner. I think I made a mistake. So when you pull, this is how the data would be reflected. Now, next question. In cell K17, use the formula to calculate pay based on hours worked by this employee. So here you need to calculate, so according to the data, number of hours worked multiplied by the rate that is there. So I'll just use equal to hours, multiplication sign and the rate. And when I press enter, the value has been calculated and I move it down. Again, replicate the functions. So I think I've already done. Then I67, IRO and 67, this is the value. Count the number of employees who worked some hours during this week. Here the question says that it is at least some hours has to be worked in a week. When I say some hours, it indicates at least more than 0 number of working hours. So I'll use a counter function here. So I just click on FX and I try to find out count if. Click on go, double click on this. Now range, I'm selecting the range hours worked. Select the entire range. So I'm just selecting from the bottom. Number of hours worked. The criteria should be greater than 0. So you get 49 as the answer. Let's move ahead to the next part of the question. Now here says K67, use a function to calculate total pay. As the word says total pay, it indicates that you need to use a function called sum. So I'll just click on FX again and just type sum. Now let me select the range. So the range is from here till the bottom. Pressing enter and click OK. So the value has been calculated. Now it says hours worked by all employees were the same as their contract hours except for some of them. So we just have to replace the number of working hours for this particular set of employees. So let's do that. So we'll be changing one by one. So now it's 16. And over 16 here. As soon as I change, the value changes on the other sides also. Next is 24. You can use Control F as well for searching it out, or else you can do it manually as well. Just ensure you're filling up the right information. Tracy. Now before proceeding, as at the top, the question was provided that you need to have employees paid in euros and it should have 2 decimal places. Let's use this in the other fields as well. So I'm just changing it here and I select this particular set of column and I make it as currency euro. So I go to currency, select from the drop down euro, you'll find euro here. With 2 decimal places. Again, now it says apply formatting for row 17 to 67. So wherever you feel, then you can add this. So I'm just using my format painter and applying it on this. Again, format painter applying on the entire column. That is also a part of it. Okay, now let's see the printing part. It says save your spreadsheets. Print the spreadsheet showing values which fits on a single page and everything is visible without no split word. So we'll go one by one. We'll click on file, print. Now before you print, it says shows the value. So I am already showing all the values. It should fit on a single page width. So first of all, try to use A4 alignment. Now try to fit sheet on a page. All the information should be visibly seen and no split words. So you can just zoom in to understand if the data is properly. Double click on the area to see if the data are properly fit. And then just click on print command. Now question 14, it says to print your spreadsheet which shows formula where we have landscape, row and column heading. So for this, again change this to landscape. Now where it says to show you row and column heading, this is provided in a page setup menu. Click on that. Go to the sheet option, you have row and column heading. Please check that box. And then all the content should be fully visible. You can click on OK. Again, it's asking you to show formula. So first we'll show formula. Go to formula, click on show formula. Go back, print. Now when you're printing, ensure that the visibility of this is appropriately seen. If not, it doesn't ask you to have it only on one page. You can fit all column and you can have 2 pages of information as well. Even that is correct. Then question 615, spreadsheet extract showing only employees who works in London or a particular place where it also shows the word sales in the job description. So London or Zagreb. So I'll go back. Now I will again remove the formulas and I'll be applying a filter at the top. So I bring here at the home button, there is a filter icon and click on filter. The filter is displayed. Now reading question for which employees it's London. So you have the information here if you know office name and the office code. So London is L. So office code you can just unselect and have L. The data regarding London is visible, or there's one more. So that is Z. So now if you have 2, you can just select Z here and say OK. So you have the data displayed. Now sort the data in the ascending order of last name. So I click the cursor here. We have the option of sorting. So last name is Z to A. So just click on Z to A. The data gets sorted out. Now question 17, hide rows 3 to 15 inclusive and hide row 67. So I am going to hide row 3 to 15. So I'm just selecting 3 to 15 at the top. I click and I hide, and the row 67. Hide. Yeah. So now hide column D, E, H, I and J. So I'm hiding D, E. So right now I selected both H and I. Sorry, H, I and J. Just use the control key so that you can easily select. Sorry, I think I missed out. Selecting both, press the control key and this right click, you have the hide option. So you have this data with you. Now print the extract showing the values. Make sure the printout fits on a single page and all the contents are fully visible. Again, this is just asking you to show the values. So you go to print. So the data is here. Again, enter, checking all the things are properly entered in the extract, your name and everything that's visible to you, and just give a print command here. Thank you. If you like the video, I would like you to please subscribe my channel. Thank you.